To say the least, it has been a minute. But guess what? Your boy's back and he's better than ever. What's going on, everybody? What's good on the internet? What's good in social media? What's good in radio? What's good in sports? What's good in everybody? What's good in life? Name's Akiem Balaam, and guess what? I have returned. And it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I've been tinkering and toying with the idea of making my way back on here to these beloved YouTubes. But you know what? After getting some inspiration from some friends of mine, I have made my oh so triumphant return. Or what I think will be a triumphant return. I'm pretty sure it'll be a triumphant return. But hopefully everybody out there is doing good. Hopefully everybody is doing great. Hopefully your teams are doing great. Hopefully your teams aren't stinking up the bed. A la some teams out there absolutely are stinking up the bed. Minnesota Vikings. But hopefully everybody's good out there. So just wanted to introduce you to a little bit about me ever since I left. So I believe the last time that I recorded a YouTube video, I believe was back in 2015 when I was still living in South Carolina. And I recently graduated from Georgia State University. So it has been a long time, almost a full decade. It's 2023 now, and we could blink at this point and it will be 2024. So it has definitely been a minute ever since I recorded one of these. And of course, as you can guess, my setup is definitely different from what I was when I was recording videos in the comfort of my own home, in my own backyard. So what's happened with me ever since? You're probably guessing what has happened with me ever since. Well, I got locked out of my old channel, and I've tried to log into my old channel for so many years, and I've had little to no success. So I've just decided, you know what? I probably should just let that channel just stay dormant the way that it is. So I'm not even going to stress about it anymore. At the very least, I got this. New channel. So a channel is better than no channel at all. But what has been going on with me? Well, in 2016, I started working at the Independent Tribune in Concord, North Carolina. I covered all of the high school teams up there: Cox Mill, A.L. Brown, Hickory Ridge, J.M. Robinson, Central Cabarrus, Concord, Northwest Cabarrus, Mount Pleasant, CFA, now Concord Academy. I got to get that right. Concord Academy now. Cannon School. I pretty much covered everything up there. I covered, I believe I covered a game once between Concord and A.L. Brown, two arch rivals up there in Cabarrus County. I covered a baseball game between the two at the Kannapolis minor league stadium. So I was able to get that experience. I covered NASCAR All-Star Weekend in 2018. I covered the Coca-Cola 600. I've just been doing a lot. And I was able to, kind of get some experience with that for a couple of years, but things aren't forever, and, that was not to be. So I definitely miss it. I actually was just back up in Cabarrus County, in that area, for a couple of basketball showcases I've been doing over the last couple of years. So shout out to Jamal Horton, the sports editor at the Independent Tribune. Shout out Mindy McCarthy, who's the Prep Girls Hoops writer for North Carolina. Shout out to everybody up there. So that's what I was doing for that period of time. And then in early 2019, I had took a job at the Courier-Journal up in Louisville, Kentucky, for about 4 to 5 months. And I was able to gain a little bit of experience, really work with some cool people up there. A lot of them have since left, but I still think about them to this day, between Raina Cash, who's now the not sports editor, but the executive editor at the Charlotte Observer, or Lucas Albach, who's one of their writers. He does a lot of sports stuff up there. Tessa Duvall, who's now I want to try to get her position right. She works at the Lexington Herald-Leader now, and she does a lot of political coverage at the in Kentucky, even though she's still based in Louisville. Mandy McLaren, the education reporter, really got to know her. Really has been a huge admirer of her work and everything that she's doing. She's now back in her native Boston at the Boston Globe. where somebody that I used to work at the Georgia State Signal, Lauren Booker, she actually is also working at the Boston Globe. So shout out to everybody up there. I really miss everybody up there up in Louisville. Shout out to Alyssa Newton, who's now, who now is doing excellent work at Channel 11 up in Derby City. So I really, have been proud of her. Me and her talk a lot of Braves, even though I grew up in a Mets household. I don't necessarily hate any teams. So one thing you could definitely expect from this channel is that, yeah, I may have my allegiances, but it's not like I quote unquote hate anybody else's team. So that's one thing that you'll definitely get from me, but definitely shout out to everybody up there in Louisville. So that was a situation where I tried to make something, work of it, but that too, it just wasn't to be. And then unfortunately, that same year, 2019, I had lost my mom that year. So I was just going through a lot in 2019. So, so it was just in a lot of ways a perfect storm of misery when I think about just everything that was going on back then and just all of the circumstances that went with that. So I left Kentucky and then I decided to come back down to South Carolina. So I didn't necessarily know what to expect when I moved back here to SC. And it has been something that is beyond my wildest dreams. I really credit this move. And I could have probably had so many of these opportunities come to me, even if I didn't come back to South Carolina. I could have gone anywhere and had these opportunities. But I've done so much ever since coming back to South Carolina. As I mentioned when I was talking about Mindy a little bit earlier, Prep Girls Hoops. I've been doing a lot of work with Prep Girls Hoops. I've been doing a lot of work with Prep Hoops, particularly here in South Carolina. Ever since I came back here in 2020, which of course was the COVID year, I've covered a grand total of 42 state championship games when you consider the championship games that I covered, not just on the girls' side, but also on the boys' side of the high school basketball ledger. I have seen some great games. I remember in the 2022 season, at the conclusion of the 2022 season, I got to cover the 3A state championship game between the Keenan Raiders, and Camden, the Camden Bulldogs. And that was a showcase of, at the time, arguably the two best players in high school girls basketball in the entire state of South Carolina, and Malaysia Fulwiley on Keenan and Joyce Edwards at Camden. Fulwiley, of course, is now about to start her freshman season under Dawn Staley at South Carolina, and Joyce Edwards is about to start her senior season at Camden, looking to repeat as 3A state champions. They lost a couple of years ago to Keenan, but they won last season against Wren in the 3A state championship. So shout out to Keenan, shout out to Camden, shout out to Wren, shout out to everybody doing it big, in South Carolina and all over the country. But I've been doing a lot of that ever since I came back here. I've also been doing a lot with Beyond the W. Got to shout out Lowe. Got to shout out Steph Lavelle. Got to shout out Lamar, my man up in New Jersey. I mean, let me tell you something. You want somebody to as far as photography is concerned, that dude does not miss. He is Steph Curry or Sabrina Ionescu from the field. Dude does not miss with a lens. So, definitely if you get a chance to work with him and book him, let me tell you something, you will get top-notch work from that dude. So, got to shout out them as well. But yeah, I've had a chance to do a lot. I've interviewed a lot of players. I've interviewed New York Liberty players, LA Sparks players. I recently was participating on the LA Sparks media availability for their exit interviews because they didn't make the playoffs this past year. So I had a chance to participate with them, talk to a few of their players, talk to Zaya Cook, talk to Jasmine Thomas, talk to Azare Stevens. So I've been doing a lot as far as that's concerned. And also I've been doing a lot of interviews as well. I've talked with Callie Curry, who happens to be the wife of Seth, not Steph, but Seth Curry. And I talked with her about navigating COVID and talked about her about being a woman in the sports industry. She works at the CAA agency. So shout out to her, definitely. Who else have I had the opportunity to talk to? I had the opportunity to talk with Andrew Marinas. I talked with Andrew Marinas. He was plugging a book last year called Inaugural Ballers, which is a really, really good book. I believe it's about the 1976 U.S. women's national team. So I got to go ahead and check my stats about that to make sure that I got my info right. But yeah, Inaugural Ballers, and he's a New York Times best-selling author. So definitely check out that book. He's all over social media. Check out his other books if you get the possibility, if you get the chance. Andrew Marinus, he's a good dude. And I also had the chance to talk with one of the titans, if you will, one of the standard bearers in women's sports media, and Christina Williams. You want to talk about somebody who is doing it big, man. Christina Williams is doing it big. I mean, I was a frequent panelist last year when she had her Women's Sports Wednesday program on Spotify Live. I was a regular panelist on that program, and let me tell you, it was a blast. It was a vibe every single time I got the chance to do that. I interviewed her prior to the 2022 Athletes Unlimited season because she has been doing great work with Athletes Unlimited actually the past 2 years now. So shout out to her. She's made a Forbes list. She's been doing MSG appearances. So shout out to Christina Williams up in New York, doing it big. And, really, like I said, being a standard bearer for those of us who are really, really idolizing as far as women's sports media is concerned. So definitely got a big shout out to her up in New York, doing it big. So yeah, that's a little bit of just, what I've been up to as of late. I've covered 2 All-Star games as well for the WNBA ever since for Beyond the W. I covered 2022 in Chicago. I covered 2023 out in Vegas this past year. So I've been doing a lot. I'm planning on going out to Phoenix. They announced that Phoenix is going to be the host site of the 2024 All-Star game. So I'm planning on going out there. I'm already trying to get some stuff there as far as like just getting stuff organized and everything. But I got some time. I mean, that's not until July of 2024. So I got some time to get all of my ducks in a row before then. And I'm also planning on going to the NAACP. I keep on getting these two confused. I always get NAACP confused with the NABJ. They're the ones having a convention next year in Chicago that I'm planning on getting to. I was planning on getting to the one this year up in Birmingham, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get back to Chicago for the 2024 NABJs. So that's just a little bit of an overview as far as just what's been going on with me ever since I last recorded a YouTube. I mean, it's been a lot. There's been a lot that's been going on. Some good, some bad, all over the place. It's been a lot that's definitely been going on, absolutely. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to be back. And one thing that I know for sure that I want to make this YouTube experience different from my last YouTube experience is that I want to make it more well-rounded. Especially given the fact that I have a lot more under my belt, I want to make this YouTube experience a lot more well-rounded. Yeah, I'll definitely be talking sports. Yeah, I'll definitely be talking about media, particularly radio. But I also want to talk about other things. I want to talk about, there's so much out there. There's so many ideas as far as content is concerned. I want to talk about a lot of other stuff. I want to shout out some of my favorite channels. I want to talk about relationships. And I want to particularly talk about relationships from the perspective of a man who doesn't think that women are just gold diggers or women are just this or women are just that. I feel like it's important for us as men, when we think about relationships, to really think about things from the woman's perspective. So I just wish that there needs to be more of a back and forth between the two, because I feel like the two genders are really dug into their side, and I can understand why. But I think there are so many shows and there are so many podcasts out there with all these dude bro type men, and all they want to do is talk about, oh, women suck, women this, women should be subservient to the man, women should be this, women should be that. No. It should be a give and take. Nobody should be subservient to anybody. It's 2023. You got women out here that are going out here, getting their own bags, doing the damn thing. So I just want to talk about things from that perspective. And I want it to be a situation where if I'm talking about whether it's dating or relationships, I wanted to talk about it from a perspective where it's not just some insecure man with mommy issues going ahead and just putting down women every single chance that they get, because I feel like there's a lot of that going on around there, and I feel like I want to do my part in being the antidote to that situation. So I want to talk about that. I want to shout out my favorite channels. I want to do stuff from the road when I have the opportunity to cover games and when I have the opportunity to go to other places. I just want to do a lot more with this channel and just have it be a lot more well-rounded. So just like I say in my tagline, sports, media, randomness. I guess you could say that's kind of part of the randomness sort of the equation that I want for this channel. I'm just glad that it's a situation where I could do a lot more in terms of this channel than I could with the last channel that I had, because it was a situation where I believe that during the bulk of the time that I had my previous YouTube channel, I couldn't even record videos over 10 minutes. Now, I tried to keep a lot of my videos previously around 6 minutes. Sometimes I would go pretty long-winded, but I'll try to be a little bit more mindful of that. So just wanted to come on here, just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I know everybody's out there been patient. I know everybody's out there, a lot of folks out there really was wondering where I was at. Well, wonder no longer, because I'm definitely back. So consider this a reintroduction to yours truly. Consider this a reintroduction to yours truly, but I don't just want to go ahead and just have folks become reintroduced to me. I want to go out there and I want to become reintroduced to the YouTube community, particularly the sports community, because that's been the primary focus of my career ever since graduating from Georgia State. So that's really just what I want to come on here and do. I want it to be informative. I want it to be entertaining. I want you to laugh. I want you to laugh because, I feel like it's a situation where sometimes we need a lot more laughter. We need a lot more love. And that's what I hope I do my part in providing. So I'll start getting more consistent with the content probably within a week or so. I'm just going to let this sit so folks can definitely marinate as far as getting either introduced to me or reintroduced to me, but I definitely want to start becoming, a lot more consistent with the content in terms of just what I plan to put out there. So just wanted to say thank you. Just wanted to say hopefully everybody out there is doing great, staying safe, in good health, and hopefully it's all good and none of the bad. So in about a week, I will be coming back here in about a week or so. Till that time, you can definitely check me out on all the social media. You can check me out at Akiem Balaam _ on Instagram. You can check me out at Akiem Balaam on Twitter, or what used to be called Twitter. I believe it's called X, but we all know how warped Elon Musk's mind can be. So check me out there. I'm at facebook.com/Balaam Samuel Bobby Akiem. I'm at TikTok at AB353, and I have a website, Akiem Balaam, or rather Akiem-Balaam.com. So until then, definitely check me out all of those particular places. So until next time, I'm just one guy talking about stuff and trying to spread the love. So until next time, I'm Akiem Balaam signing off. See you on the internet someplace. Glad to be back.